I thought I had a little more time.
Yeah.
When I saw you walk in, I figured the show was about to start, and that's true. And there's no what?
And now I'm on.
And now
Yes,
you're on?
I am.
Okay.
I can even hear myself.
Okay, there you go. Chris Potter here, because it's Wednesday, and his paper comes out on Wednesday, and it seems like a good time for him to come down. Because
And hide. And not be at my desk for an hour.
It works for everybody. It really does. Well, I mean, there's got to be sort of, I'm sure in your business where you just have to, okay, one issue's out, and there's a moment. Is there a moment where you get to go, and then right away you have to start on the next one? So is this sort of the...
No, actually, that day is Tuesday because the paper
Tuesday,
mostly goes out on Monday night to the printer.
Okay, so you're already in frantic next week mode.
You know, frantic?
After all these years.
I maintain an even strain. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm going to... There. Feel better.
But you know, it's mostly about the mayoral candidates now, so that's
dear
our whole
God.
life, yeah.
You want to talk about that?
No, I guess not. No.
Okay, no, we do have to talk a little bit about it because the filing deadline
14,000 people are now in the race for mayor. That's what happened.
And I didn't get in. Damn it! I should have.
Well, you should have signed you should have had your petitions out there.
Yeah.
Some guy who's a school bus monitor got
I saw that.
A.J. Richardson.
Good for him. And if I'd gone in, it'd just be what? Me and Darlene Harris splitting the feminist
The female vote, yeah. The feminist vote, yes.
All three of them.
Yes, that old bra burner, Darlene Harris. Yep. Yeah, but she, so she's the only woman, but there are... Jake Wheatley was sort of a surprise entrant. There had been talk that he was going to enter.
Here's what my understanding is about Jake Wheatley.
Yeah.
But then I might just be cynical. Jake has no intention. He will not be on the ballot. Are you shocked? Even though he put the papers in, because he was a spoiler for Robinson, who failed to get his papers in. So Wheatley was there to split up the African-American vote. You would agree with this assessment I'm making?
Yes.
And so the guy who he was trying to spoil things for didn't himself put his papers in.
Robinson had a special kind of challenge there, which is he sits on Allegheny County Council.
He didn't want to lose his job.
Yeah, which isn't, I mean, as jobs go, it's a part-time position. I think it pays $9,000 a year.
That's $9,000.
Hey, sure, that's a lot of,
Okay, so that's what it was. When push came to shove, he didn't want to do it. Frankly, Jake Wheatley doesn't want to do it either. He's a spoiler. Let me guess. Let me figure this one out. He would be he's trying to help Peduto.
Yeah, maybe.
Is that the way you see it?
Maybe.
I mean, once you realize what a game, a tangled mess this is.
It's hard to say because...
Furlow's a spoiler, too.
Yeah,
and Furlow, quite clearly, is trying to harm Peduto.
The best is, so far the best to me is, I think I was it last week or the week before when I said Wayne Fontana has just jumped in this race.
I know, well...
Tuesday morning I get a press release from Wayne Fontana saying, I have heard the voice of the people... and they want me to stay as a state senator. Fine. This morning, I came to my desk and I came down here as quickly as I could. This morning, there's a statement from the Peduto campaign. Wayne Fontana is now endorsing Bill Peduto for mayor. So it's a fascinating turn about how quickly he's...
So here's how you read that. Fontana got in to help Bill Peduto. Help him because he would take some of the votes away, given his geography.
But what good does that do? He's not in the race now, so all he really did was muddy the waters for a week. I mean, you have to stay in the race to take votes away from people. You have to stay in the race. You can't not.
I guess what they figured is, with Wagner jumping in, you already have that South.
Thing fragmented,
and he was the lesser of the trio. So what difference does it make? Get out.
See, you did want to talk about this.
I don't. I think it's all.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You seem pretty excited to me.
I want to ask you, of all these 500,000 people running, who are okay? I have said Furlow is not a serious candidate. Do you agree with that?
I never know what old Jim Furlow's up to.
Come on.
You gotta remember that his Senate district is being districted out from under him, essentially. So
if he were
gonna have some
interested
time
in running for mayor, he should have expressed interest
that's
prior
different.
to Luke Ravenstall's.
I agree with that. Well, but except you got to remember, he has been an ally essentially of Ravenstall in a lot of ways. He's on the URA board.
I know. Here's what I'm saying. He is somebody now who is the two words I would apply are opportunist and spoiler.
Goodness gracious.
Is it not much of a secret that he and Bill Peduto are not exactly palsy-walsies?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're on the opposite side of certainly whether Luke Ravenstall was a disaster or not. I think that's true.
Isn't it also true that they would split? Furlow would pull some liberal and progressive votes away from Peduto.
People say that. I don't know how true that actually is. I think a lot of the people.
Kidding?
No, I think a lot of the people who are paying attention to stuff have recognized that the Jim Furlow that they knew on council
doesn't exist anymore.
Is not the same Jim Furlow that is currently sitting on the URA board. I think
he's 100 pounds heavier, and I know that's not nice. He's 100 pounds heavier. And he's definitely much more of a establishment player. He is not the firebreaker.
In Furlow's defense, I think he would say, he sits on the URA board, which gives him the ability to actually do some of the things, to make some of the investments that he had been clamoring for as a voice in the wilderness. I mean, that's what he'd say. And he wouldn't entirely be wrong. I just don't think. Where I think Furlow has the larger potential to draw votes from Peduto might be in places like Lawrenceville, where it's a sort of a more working class folks who have been represented by Furlow for a very long time, know him well, and he might peel off some of those votes in a different kind of way. But I don't think your shady side East End liberal progressive types are gonna be oh, it's Jim Furlow, he's gonna liberalize our relations with Cuba or whatever. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Well, there are some of them, and I know
there might be a few, but I don't see it as being
so eager. The other day, did you hear Jimmy might get in? I'm thinking, oh, whoop-de-doo. Yeah. Jeez, exactly right. Maybe we can have a sister city with Havana. I mean, come on.
That'd actually be pretty fresh.
Yeah, right.
I think we already have a sister
I think we
Cuba.
do. I do too.
Mantazia.
Yeah, it just starts with an M.
Yeah. Is that a kind of plant, Mantazia? Anyway.
There's nothing in Montezuma.
Yeah. And this would be his revenge.
Yes.
The entrance of Jim Furlow into the race.
I mean, my sense is I'm going to look somewhat askance at the ones who are getting in. In other words, I give Peduto and Lamb way. I give them a lot more. They jumped in when this was anything but a real uphill challenge.
And you have to, and of those two, remember that Lamb still has 2 years left as a city controller. He has a job no matter what happens with this race.
Peduto
put it on the line. Peduto has absolutely put it on the line.
I respect that.
Yeah, I do too.
And I'm not in the Johnny-come-latelys. The Wagners and Wagner, I saw him on. I like Jack Wagner. He's a nice person. I see him on TV yesterday saying, and the people need new, fresh ideas. And I'm looking at him, and I said, "You look like a white-haired old man. You're saying you're the fresh idea. You're a new face. Give me a break. That's not a line you should be uttering."
Yeah, unless he's actually got ideas to back it up, and I guess that'll be the question. I actually put Wagner in a slightly different category than I do, say, a Darlene Harris or Jim Furlow. Everybody knew that Jack was seriously weighing a race in November. As an independent. So for him to move, I mean, you could argue this is more of a tactical shift than a sudden opportunistic kind of thing, the way it is, say, with a Darlene Harris. I mean, with Darlene Harris, it's just,
Hey,
what?
Look at that. A chance for me to be, who knows? I think she probably had been hoping that the rumors that Luke might resign immediately were true, and then she would be the incumbent mayor.
Maybe.
Who the hell knows? Anyway, most of them annoy the hell out of me. And
So there you go. So you can look forward to another 4 years of bumper crops of resentment.
Okay. No, I'm telling you here and now, Peduto, okay? And the rest can go pound salt as far as I'm concerned. Not that they're not good people or all that stuff.
Screw themselves. As good people sometimes must.
Has put in so much work.
Yep.
for this. He's run and he's run and he's wonked and he's wonked and he's thought and he's thought and he's talked to people and talked to people and this isn't that. This guy would be a serious mayor.
He definitely, of anybody in this race right now, he's clearly the guy with a plan and the operation. Clearly, he's got endorsements coming in. As does Lamb has had some activity on that front, but Peduto a lot more. He's got more money than Lamb. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, we reported on this a week or two ago, and it's now sort of bubbled up to the surface as well. What happens with, say, Jack Wagner, who's walking around with $300,000 in a bank account?
Well, he says he's putting.
He says he can put it in.
He says he's using the money that this was for his last statewide run, and he's going to take that money and put it into this run. Peduto, who authored the I don't know, what do you call
campaign
that bill?
Finance
campaign finance reform local bill, says can't do it. That's not what you can do. Now, what's your understanding? Because I think the local rule is a lot more stringent than the state rule. So it could be that you can't take those state funds and use them here. Well,
the plain language of, if you read the ordinance, it's pretty clear. Peduto is right about what the intention of the ordinance is.
So period. How can Wagner get around that?
Well, because it's not clear that the ordinance can actually be enforced. This happens a lot. This sort of thing happens a lot. I think. Oh,
jeez.
And we'll have to see. What
do you mean? What's the point of an ordinance if it can't be enforced? What does that mean?
Under the ordinance, the mechanism is if somebody runs afoul of the provisions, you go to the county board of elections, and the county issues a ruling on whether they should do this or not do this. What has previously happened, and what is happening now, is that the county board of elections says we actually don't have jurisdiction over the rules you as a city set up. We're allowed to enforce county rules and state rules within our jurisdiction, but we don't have the ability to enforce these rules over the city. Those are your rules.
Why wouldn't the provision have?
Because you have to go back in time.
Oh, you know what? I don't.
No. Essentially, what it was is the county was supposed to pass. The city and the county were both supposed to pass rules roughly simultaneously, and the county under Dan Honorato just didn't do it. And so, as a result, the county doesn't have any kind of enabling legislation to hold any officials within its area. And so, basically, because there's no county enforcement, there's no way for the county to enforce it.
So it somehow makes its way into the courts, and some lawyers make some money.
Yeah, and that's where it falls apart.
And whether or not, and so forget it. So,
but I think he'll
spend the $300,000.
Yeah, I think he'll certainly try. What else is he going to do at this point? He's only got a few weeks until the actual election, which is in mid-May. It's going to be very difficult to raise a ton of money with the limits that are in place. So he's probably going to try to use the $300,000. I think for Peduto, the stronger argument is just like these are the rules. They were passed. They were approved by a unanimous council. They were signed by the mayor. And the first thing you do, Mr. Reformer, with your fresh ideas is you blow them off. That's what I'd say. In fact, I think I did just say it. I think you know what I mean? It's a hell of a way to start your campaign as a reformer that you're basically going to say, yeah, you know what? Don't care.
And here's the reality. Mr. and Mrs. Voter, they're not paying.
They probably don't pay attention
to this kind of crap. I can barely pay attention to this kind of crap.
Yeah, I can see you already ruffling through your pile of New York Times stories.
Because I am stunned. The cannibal got convicted.
Oh, are you stunned?
Didn't we talk about this?
We did talk about this, yeah.
I am stunned. I thought it was a slam dunk.
No.
He was thinking, you mean he's going to go to prison for life for having violent fantasies in which he communicated on the internet to somebody else, and they were role playing and game. So clearly, it was role playing, game playing, and he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison.
I'm sure it'll be appealed.
Thoughts.
I'm sure it'll be appealed on that basis, precisely that basis.
Well, of course it will.
And it wouldn't surprise me if the appeal is successful. That's what I think. That's my early prediction.
Oh, you think the jury was too stupid to know?
No, I think eventually, a judge, this is why we have appeals court judges, to remind us of little things, little nuances like the First Amendment.
Okay, well, speaking of a nuance like the First Amendment, here is an internet lawyer, former head of the cybercrime unit in the federal prosecutor's office in Manhattan. He's thought the verdict was right on the money. He said, okay, and here's the thinking. Now, they'll keep coming at people. It underscored the fact that as much as we like to think of things happening in cyberspace, the reality is that internet and email are simply new methods of communication, and that when those communications involve planning crimes, the fact that the planning is done online is fundamentally no different than when they happen on the telephone, or for that matter, in person.
Is that really the question, though?
So he's saying if we had communication between this guy and the other guy on the phone saying, okay, so you're going to kidnap her, and I'm going to truss her, and you bring the apple we're going to stick in her mouth, and I got the spit to roast her on.
Right.
That in the old days, if you had that telephone conversation...
I think you might have just subjected us to an investigation. Remember, Lynn, this is going out on the internet.
Well... But that could get you for conspiracy to kidnap and murder and chew on the flesh of a fellow human being. Okay.
Sure.
And so he's saying just because it's on the internet in a fantasy chat room doesn't make it any different.
But that's I don't think the question, at least as far as I understood this story, and I'm not an expert on it.
Look at that sweet man.
I never thought it was a question of the platform. I thought it was a question about the context in which this was.
Sweet,
sure.
Rubik.
Yeah.
Like
he looks just like anybody else. Dun dun dun. As the real creeps always do. I don't think the question was really was it on the internet versus was it a private correspondence by mail. I thought the total thing of this was that it was idle fantasy, right? I mean,
right, but he did a few things that made it look like he might be acting on it. Mm-hmm. He did go into the police, because he was a cop in New York. Yeah. He went into their database to get a little more information on some of the women he was fantasizing about. Okay. He set up a luncheon date with one of the women, but brought his wife with him. And then after he had lunch with the woman, he did write the guy who he did these fantasies with and said, my mouth was watering all through lunch. I was looking
maybe he just had a really good salad. Oh. The deviled eggs are to die for.
Man. Are you enjoying your salad niçoise? Who knows?
Yeah.
All right. But I just have a feeling this is a miscarriage of justice. Okay, he had really sexual fantasies that, let's say, 99.99999% of us can't get into.
Yeah.
But then again, I wouldn't want to get into yours, or you wouldn't want to get into mine, right?
I don't know if this hour gets slow. Let's keep our options open. That's.
Oh, gee whiz! All right. So I'm seeing.
So he invited that woman to lunch. Did he say, "I'd like to have you for lunch"?
Yeah, right. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought it was cool that the Sistine Chapel is like an office. I mean, it's like a conference center. It's like a,
yeah.
You see them all, but
exercise equipment in the basement.
Man, I could tell you, I could ponder things in that setting. Wow.
I was surprised. I saw the thing on the little smokestack this morning. And I was like, "That's the smokestack." It looks like something people have in the back of their their garage or whatever.
Yeah, it does.
It's just like a little tube with a little yeah.
Well, so what do you want?
I thought it was going to be some grand.
Come on, you don't remember it from last time?
No, I don't care.
Same one.
Papist nonsense. Who cares? But
because it's such theater.
Yeah, I'm saying that I expected a little grander presentation. In terms of the smokestack, I thought it was going to be some chimney with gilt bricks and like little cherubs on the top.
True.
That kind of thing.
Come to think of it, that's true. I mean, if there's any church that knows how to,
it looks like it's the vent for a deep fryer or something like that.
That's exactly
right. It's ridiculous.
It looks like the little chimney on my barbecue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just a little surprised. I thought the one thing the Vatican did well was a pomp and the circumstance, and frankly, you let us down on the smokestack is all I can tell you.
All right. Well, could be an American.
Ah, really? Could that be? I haven't paid much attention. Seems unlikely.
Yeah, I think they say the longer it goes on where they can't find, they can't get somebody. So, I mean, the front runners are all, the usual suspects and stuff. And if the balloting goes on and on and on, and then things start shifting and they start looking for, and then there are two Americans that have been talked about with some, especially one, the guy from Boston, O'Malley, who's an interesting character.
Yeah, is he?
He's a Franciscan.
Oh, no. I like the Franciscans.
Everybody likes the Franciscans because they seem to not have strayed from what the idea is. Yeah. And in fact, McCarthy wears the brown robe of a Franciscan. He has.
Oh, wait, his name is McCarthy?
I believe so.
I said it was O'Malley, so I got
O'Malley.
Yeah.
O'Malley, okay. McCarthy, Harry.
Whatever, one of those Irish.
I'm getting into St. Patty's Day and I get them all mixed up. One of them Irishmen. Yeah. And speaking of other Irishmen, the other one is Dolan from
New York.
Is a classic New York City Irish pal. Yeah. I love him. Yeah. Classic pal.
Yeah, but he's also kind of the heavy on a lot of these social questions.
Well, of course, he has to be, but he looks like a fun character. Okay, go ahead,
a call.
Please.
Hello, hey, no Pope, no Easter this year. Oh, goodbye.
What just happened there?
I don't. Did you understand any of that?
He said no Pope something or other.
And something about a pipe. Oh. Did he pull in the pipe and the Pope together?
Hey, we're at the 20s.
Are we? Well, I'll take your word for it. I'm not even going to look.
You're such a pro.
We're at the 20s, and I'll tell you what that means.
We could talk papal stuff, though. I'm interested.
No. While we wait to find out who the new Pope will be, let us take a moment, not of reflection, but of crass commerce.
Yes.
We'll be right.
The crasser, the better.
Back.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
Pittsburgh City Paper's annual Dining Guide magazine is available now. Pick up one today for a look at the best restaurants in the region. Plus, this week's City Paper includes great deals for St. Patty's Day, Good Brother Earl, and Big Bad Voodoo. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a pep talk that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You can improve your future. Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and for free classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
The round-frocked friar. Brown, yeah. Either way, actually, it sounds good.
The brown-frocked friar?
Yeah.
He just looks like St. Francis.
I like that.
He looks like you expect to see a bird on his shoulder.
I like that the Americans, though, are like, if they can't figure out anybody else, it's like, okay, we'll just go with an American. Like, we're the King's Family restaurant of papal choices or something. If you can't get everybody else in the car to agree on a place, well, let's just go to Applebee's. Let's just pick one of the Americans. Who cares? What's the worst that could happen? There's never been an American pope, obviously. And you were saying during the break that this guy would be the first bearded pope?
No, in a million years. I don't think there has not been a bearded pope in the last century.
Is that right?
Well, stop and think. Can you think of a pope with a beard?
No.
No. Clean shaven.
Yeah,
here's a question for the hour, you Googlers. Who was the last bearded
pope? That sounds like Diane Brown's latest next novel, The Bearded Pope.
And
turns out he was a woman. Dun, dun, dun.
Has there ever been a Franciscan pope? Meanwhile, do you think Benedict is watching all this from Castle Gandolfo on TV?
Maybe.
I bet he is.
Probably. In between, catching up on Young and the Restless reruns or whatever.
What, Jess?
Jess looks like the last bearded pope with some kind of profane thing.
You look
Oh, no. It's a
you
sex
get?
toy, isn't it?
What is bearded pope?
According to Urban Dictionary,
Oh, no.
shitting on the face.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough.
It is something.
No.
What do you mean? This is the internet. You can say.
I don't care. I don't. It's just. It's.
Grossed out.
Was it relieving oneself on
It's
someone's face?
Yeah.
Ugh. Holy. Ugh.
Okay.
I'm a Presbyterian, and that bothered even me. Man, oh.
I'll tell you though, but when you go there, people respond. I got in the mail the other day a thank you note with 2 little decals for making a poop joke the other day.
I just want to pause this. You just urged a bunch of people to go out and Google search for that phrase. These people, you have listeners all over the country, and they're all going, Nice one.
Well, how did we know?
Yeah, enable. Well, I think in retrospect, we should have realized probably that bearded pope was going to be a problem. I don't know. It's just now it just feels.
I am so innocent.
None are innocent, Lynn. That's one of the things we learn in Presbyterianism.
Back in the day when I was on that, old-fashioned AM radio band, I used to have animal friends folks come in with a, poor little orphaned animal, and we'd try to get the orphaned animal a home. And I would always say, you can go check them out online at... Well, it turns out if you write animal friends...
Oh, no, you get like
you can imagine what you get with that.
Bestiality side.
Animal friends, it's all bestiality. And and the poor folks at Animal Friends had to deal with that. Is it important?
No, I don't. It just went off. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Mine went off yesterday. It's okay.
Okay, sorry. It doesn't usually happen.
No.
I haven't figured out quite how to turn it off, so sorry.
Oh, is that a new phone?
Relatively new to me.
I can show you later.
Okay. Anyway, so the Pope.
Okay, so that's it for the Pope, huh? But I get pulled into it every time. I do.
Yeah.
I do. Although I'm sick. What?
I just read a story that one of the bishops or archbishops lives in a residence that in the same building.
Which here?
No, in Italy. And the Vatican owns this building that this guy lives in. It's like where his apartments are. And the same building has like a gay sauna, like one of the most notorious gay sex saunas in all of Europe. And I was like, man, would I be calling up my real estate agent and being angry? I mean, apparently it's like quite the scandal over there.
Oh, really?
There's all kinds of stuff.
Well, but there was the scandal of there being an inside gay cabal,
within the Vatican
that did frequent these kinds of establishments.
So maybe that's it. Maybe it wasn't.
And
I think they've got to go with somebody who, even Ratzinger was just tarred by it. I think, and it hurt him throughout his papacy. I think they got to go for somebody who is completely,
Here's what I think. Just like I think with the Pittsburgh Police. Bring in someone from the outside.
Like a Presbyterian. We have a Presbyterian Pope.
And we could all be.
Yeah.
I could be. All I'd have to do is agree to be baptized, I think.
Was that right? You didn't have to be brought up in the Catholic Church to be the Pope?
No.
I'll be dipped. I did not know that.
There was one Pope, and I heard this, who probably in the 1100s, some guy who wandered in from, he was a hayseed from out in the country, came in to sort of see what was going on. He knew they were getting the Pope.
Right.
And I guess during and this was done in a public kind of a manner. And at some point, and they were having a lot of trouble agreeing on who should be the Pope. And in all of this stuff, all of a sudden, a dove, a pigeon really, flew and landed on this rube's shoulder.
And that was it.
And they said, a sign from God.
Was he a good Pope?
I don't know. But he did become the Pope.
Huh.
Can you imagine that? You just go to town to see something, and the next thing you know, you've been kidnapped and...
Yeah, it sounds like a Seinfeld episode, sort of, right? Kramer goes to the Vatican, and the next thing you know...
Huh. All right, okay. Now, I don't know if you are inclined to wade into the latest from our fair city's management.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
It just becomes so. Here's the one I want to just focus on for a second. Guys, if you bother to read the paper, it's just, no one's in charge over there. No one knows. And what I think is funny is how now everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else.
Yeah.
You got to believe the morale over there and the backbiting and the attempt to sort of save oneself. It's every cop for himself now. And they're pointing fingers and they're and not commenting.
So I could just tell you a story about this. So we were at a birthday party for a kid in my child's daycare class, and one of the other parents is an officer in the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police, and we had a very brief conversation because that's the only kind you can have when there's dozens of screaming children running around. And I said, "Well, times must be kind of tough in the department morale-wise." And he said, "Yeah." He said he was working out in the gym one day, and then he went to go get a thing of water, and there was a woman who works in the administrative side over by where the fountain was, and she was just sitting
with her hand in her hand.
Like this. And he just said, "It's like that, pretty much." Especially in the headquarters, where a lot of this stuff is swirling. So,
yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so one of the things that had dribbled out before that just absolutely blew my mind was that there was a commander, Eric Holmes, who asked the chief, Harper, if he could take another job while he was doing this job, which was, in fact, a full-time job as the head of Slippery Rock University's public safety or security. And he was given an okay. Now, right there, I'm thinking, wait a minute. You're a commander in the Pittsburgh Police. You've got a huge amount of responsibility. Mm-hmm. It ain't a 9-to-5 job. Mm-hmm. It's like you got to be on call. And you want to take another full-time job in another county?
Yeah.
And
that's a solid hour drive.
Yeah. And the answer was, sure, go for it. So, fine. I'm thinking right there, wrong, so wrong, it's ludicrous. However, now the plot thickens because they've now found that while Commander Holmes was also commanding the Slippery Rock University force, he managed at the same time to earn $27,000 in overtime pay from Pittsburgh Police. Mm-hmm. Okay, now I ask you.
And if memory serves, this same officer...
I think he needs to be immediately sent over to a lab at, to
see how hard he
how
works.
you can function on 1 hour of sleep.
And this is Commander Holmes, who also, folks may recall, was one of the people who got in on that business that Nate Harper started, that never really took off, supposedly. Diverse Public Safety LLC, something or other. So yeah, there's that question. Then another story today is that there may have been some misspending of funds from what's called a drug asset forfeiture fund, where you take cash from drug dealers and you use that supposedly to finance other investigations, and it appears to have been spent on things like Gatorade, volume purchases of Gatorade, and here's one of the here's the narcotics commander
being interviewed, Cheryl Doubt. Her name is. Great name.
Yeah.
Cheryl Doubt. She has turned on the acting chief, Regina McDonald.
Yes.
I got to tell you, these are all these high-powered up there people, and they got their knives out. And and here's what Commander Doubt says about acting chief McDonald. I was there when Regina McDonald asked and said, "Hey, can we take the money for Gatorade out of asset forfeiture?" And I said, "I keep telling y'all that you have to be very careful with what you pay for out of that money." I got so pissed off, I left.
I noticed the Post-Gazette took the word "pissed" out and put ticked in brackets, which I thought was funny. But yes. I just thought that was a funny editorial choice, but yeah.
Oh, God, they're so prissy. Anyway, so I got to tell you, every time you turn around, there's another one. And here's another thing that caught my Assistant Chief Bryant's sister. Ms. Richard.
Yes.
This is the spokesperson.
Mm-hmm.
She's the sister of Commander Bryant.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, but isn't that Pittsburgh too? I gotta tell you. Oh, wow. So there are more relations on this. There's 2 of the women on suspension are a police officer and her mother,
yeah.
who are also involved in this business with the man. This is, can we just throw them all out and start over?
It's amazing. And what I find incredible, just to sort of on the city council side, is so there's this thing now of, because one of the other stories, I think it was yesterday or the day before, was, hey, you know that money we've been charging these, various businesses to rent out our cops for off duty, providing security or whatever. Turns out we never bothered to get council's approval on that amount, and that the city may not have been legally allowed to charge it. What cracks me up is so now city council belatedly is passing this money, and they're charging the same amount, $3.85 an hour, which is the same amount of the rate that was set back in like 7 years ago.
Which is absurd, and it's low, because if you look at what other communities charge, it's as high as $35, $40.
And that just suggests, not only that, even if $3.85 was the right amount to set, that was like 7 years ago. Basic inflation tells you need to adjust that rate. And the thing that kills you is that they're just doing it. They're not. And this is Darlene Harris, as far as I could tell. This is just okay. Let's quickly just get this amount. Let's not do any thinking about it. Let's not do any oversight. Let's not really challenge.
Everybody is scampering.
Yeah.
They're all scampering. The cockroaches, they're everywhere, and every time a light shines on them, they finger another cockroach.
Yeah.
It is such a despicable scene. Okay, here's another little tidbit. This is the kind of thing you get too. This could be said by almost anybody in the commander and assistant commander and associate deputy this is and that's over there. Here's a quote. I didn't control it. I didn't even know what was in it. And I voiced objection to it many times. Okay, so I didn't know anything, and I opposed it. Now, that is an actual quote, which could have been said by, anybody. If I gave you a multiple choice, you wouldn't know who said that, would you?
Right.
Well, in this case, it was Commander Doubt.
Ah, yes.
And Commander Doubt. Here, aptly named Dickens couldn't do better. I didn't control it. I didn't even know what was in it.
Yeah.
And I'd voiced objection to it many times. Okay, here's another doozy. Here's another officer, William Bochter.
Yeah.
And look at this. He, with that narcotic money, went to Tennessee he was then the assistant chief. How many damn assistant deputy, assistant associate, senior, junior, emeritus chiefs do we have?
Yeah, I don't know.
500 million thousand. It's like being a vice president over at Highmark. Okay, let's see.
You were saying Tennessee.
Tennessee. Okay, this is our money, guys. These are the Fed money. $2,750 went to send the assistant chief of operations to a place where he would become a certified debt reduction instructor. I looked at that and thought, what?
Yeah.
What? What is that? Was it maybe so he could help
other people
reduce
deal with their
No, he says it was absolutely. He says this would allow me then to train Pittsburgh officers on how to get out of debt.
Yeah.
And he said also, and then it's got some spirituality about it. Did you see that? So whatever training he got, they must have say you should do this and do that, and if that fails, pray.
Right.
Jesus will help you out.
Right.
Okay, so I sent him off to some weirdo, Christianized debt camp.
Right.
And this was
Christianized debt camp.
Jesus, God Almighty!
Exactly. Yeah.
I have such.
I will say too. I will say too that I've written about drug asset forfeiture in the past, and it is Pittsburgh would be far from the only city that had questionable uses of these funds. And it's there's a whole legal thing about the standard of proof. Essentially, you can take assets, you can take money, you can take stuff from people you suspect of drug dealers, and even if they're later found guilty, you're under no obligation to return it because it's a different standard of evidence. So it's a situation that is ripe for abuse. And there have been huge problems with it in other cities, so it doesn't entirely surprise me that on top of every other crazy thing going on in this bureau, that there seems to be an issue with this. Drug asset forfeiture is just a bad...
Well, here's what I'm starting to think. I'm starting to think that if our police department isn't busy depriving people of their First Amendment rights, or beating innocent young black men senseless, or engaged in dubious and/or criminal conduct themselves, then what the hell are they doing?
Right. Oh, and I'll say this just to tie it back to the mayor's issue. Our Charlie Deitch was at the county office building where they were filing their petitions yesterday, and Jack Wagner was asked some questions about the police department.
Yes.
He said
he wants the
next chief to be drawn from within
inside.
the department.
I saw that. This is one reason. Do not vote for him. That is the stupidest thing I ever heard. Wagner, if he becomes mayor, will get a police chief from the same cesspool that produced this ongoing disaster. The only hope is to bring somebody in from outside. And God help him. Excuse me. I know. We have
20s.
to take a break. I just feel it in my bones.
You do? Oh, my gosh.
I don't even have to look. I don't. All right. We'll be right. And what I said before about crass commerce, I don't believe there is any crass commerce in this because I think what is this? All PSAs and
Berg bargains.
Oh, Berg bargains.
Berg bargains.
There's no higher cause than Berg bargains.
Oh, I guess not. Excuse me. I was remiss. Not remiss. That would be an act of omission.
You were just downright wrong, Lynn Cullen.
I know. All right. Quickly, we'll be back.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on museums, shows, and meals from your favorite local restaurants. This week only, get discounts up to 50% for the Jerome Bettis Grill. Supplies are limited. bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. bergbargains.com.
Packers.
Vikings.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
Downtown.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But when we live united, we make a real difference in the building blocks of life. Children succeed in school, families gain financial stability, the health of our neighbors improves, and suddenly so do our communities. Real change won't happen without you.
Live united.
So give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Sign up today at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn@pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
All right, we're back.
We are.
And Ray, we're keeping you busy these days. I know that. Okay, Ray says, Lynn. Okay, so here we go. These days seem to be open season for the church mockers. Were we mocking the church?
A little bit.
A little bit. I thought we were being...
Although the worst part was an accident. So
was the what?
The worst part was the accident, the bearded pope thing. I just feel bad.
Well, yeah, but we didn't know.
We honestly did not know.
We were well-intentioned on the bearded pope.
Yes, we were.
And anyway, haven't we all learned something?
Anyway, to Ray.
So let me... here goes Ray. My granddaughter complained last week about the standing and sitting and standing and kneeling and so on during Mass. I told her it was a little dance we do for God, like the dance she does when certain songs come on her radio station. Oh, right, okay. This is how I explain it to a child. I don't like having to use the same explanation with adults,
right.
But I guess I have to. What you are watching right now is our particular dance we do when we need a pope. Now, you can hate and criticize the dancers for the sins they have committed, and we do the same, but I don't think that you guys are in a position to criticize the dance as if it was just some way we get a vote done. Were we criticizing the
I don't
way
know that we
doing
were
it?
exactly. but
I
keep
wasn't.
going.
I was saying I find it fascinating.
Yeah.
It is a ritual. That's why I'm fascinated by it, not a technique.
Right.
It is not an attempt to get something done. Well, that's not quite true, Ray. It has a value in itself, a value that speaks to us, the dancers,
Sure.
on a profoundly emotional level. All right. I'm sure after watching Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers waltz across a room, you all would complain that they could have walked across in half the time. That's good.
It is. I don't know if
That's
it's.
good.
I don't know if it fairly represents our position.
No,
but it's
it doesn't,
I
but
respect
that's-
the.
but
I
that-
respect the craftsmanship.
Yes. Why, you waltzed right in and with that. I mean, it was beautiful. I love that, Ray. That's why we love to annoy you, so you write. Now, as far as the dances go, we Catholics, I include the Eastern Rites in here,
okay.
have a pretty good one. Yes, you do. I must say that the Black Southern Baptists give us a run for our money, but I don't have the rhythm or stamina for it. I will say, did you think that was racist?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'm looking at the next slide.
I will say our dance sure beats the Presbyterian or Quaker snooze fest that they have going on. You are correct.
Yeah.
You are correct. There is nothing more dull than a white Protestant service. Oh, onward Christians, all right. There's a lot of oomph in that. I know. I mean, you can tell the passion. Oh, man. Listen, I've been around.
I know.
I've been around. I've been to all these. I've worshipped with
that's
Catholics and with and with Presbyterians. I got to tell you, serious snooze fest.
But
okay, he says that. Okay. You can
I will
defend
refrain
your
from
own
it.
later.
I don't really care that much.
At least we have the Catholics and interesting
yes.
costumes, bells, and incense. Although I have to say, I'm surprised you haven't gotten trouble in this age of, peanut allergies and perfume allergies, that some people have said.
I've sometimes had asthma
I can't
from
go to church because that incense.
I've had asthma troubles, not at a Catholic one, but elsewhere. Yeah.
Yes, okay. And without a doubt, Ray says, I can say that our dance, with all its peculiarity, is infinitely better than the staggering, stilted, shambling walk that the secular humanists perform. Woo! Woo! Ray!
I need some atheists to call in stat. The number is 412-316-3381.
Ray continues, the institutionalized sexual repression in the church and the subsequent crimes have tarnished the men who perpetuate and protect them.
Right.
And with them, they have drawn our rituals and metaphors out into the open and caused them to be held up for ridicule and derision. But please try to understand that these rituals are just that. We are not lunatics that actually believe in magic. We are trying to express a wordless experience, an experience with the transcendent that has more in common with the world of art and beauty than with technique and efficiency. It's our dance, and we don't dance it for you guys. Is he good?
Yeah, sure.
Is he good?
Yes, I think it's a testament to his ability to argue a case that suddenly that the Catholic Church now is the defender of sensual experience, while the rest of us.
All right. Well, wow, that's interesting, though.
I mean, I would just say, I don't. I'm certainly not in the position of defending the Presbyterian Church, which hardly needs my help. Certainly, I would say that part of what you see in Protestant faiths was a suspicion precisely of costumes, bells, and incense. A lot of the hardtack Presbyterians from Scotland, especially, basically wouldn't have singing at all in their church because they thought that it was of this world, and that it distracted people from considering that transcendent experience. So there's always in any religious, in any religious movement, there's always this tension.
Church, the Catholic,
there's always this tension
the church
between.
Knew that I understand, but they knew.
Oh yeah,
the
sure.
Catholic Church is such an enduring institution.
Look at Counter-Reformation art.
They knew that the way you attract people is not by boring them silly and depriving them of all sensual experience.
Right.
It is to bring them in and make a show. And this regalia.
So that's all true. But of course, that also leads to, arguably, has led to the sort of worldliness of the church and the abuse of that, and many of the things that Martin Luther responded to. So in a way, I don't disagree with anything that Ray said. I think he's entirely right, but it's also the flip side of the same coin.
And let me say to both of you,
okay,
I speak as a Jew.
Yeah.
As far as I know, Jews never burned anybody at the stake.
Well, that's an interesting question.
Never.
That's an interesting question.
Never.
Yeah.
No, we were the burnies. Way too often.
Yeah, right.
All right, fine. So you can just onward Christian soldiers, you're right. They're saying, I don't have a dog in this fight, okay? Hey, Lynn, writes someone, I am amazed that a real outsider who would bring real change to the Vatican. What?
He wants Guido Sarducci to be the next pope.
Oh, okay. A man of the cloth and a great Italian accent, too. Oh, George from Moon. Hi. Father Guido Sarducci, you're throwing his, I found out what those were called, those little funny hats they wear. And then when they take them off, they still have a little yarmulke on, although they don't call them a yarmulke.
Yeah, don't they call them yarmulkes? Yeah.
Well, it's a yarmulke.
Yeah.
And I got news for you. We were wearing them before you guys were.
Oh,
You're all just Johnny-come-latelys. That's all I want to say. Jews, we've been doing it for for 500,000 years.
500,000 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Let's move on.
No, but okay, we'll move on. Okay, I have another a change of subject.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
Here is a report.
Dun-dun.
A basic 2-bedroom apartment. So basic. There's nothing fancy here.
Yeah.
You got a room with a bed. You got a room with a bed. You got a living room. You got maybe a kitchen. Who knows if there's a dining area in that? I think
there's a bathroom.
Right, and a bathroom. One bathroom. Basic 2-bedroom apartment in Pittsburgh. Cost.
In the city or in the overarching
In the Pittsburgh region.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Right.
$772.
Oh, really?
A month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, let us then look at how much you would need to earn per hour to afford that very basic 2-bedroom apartment. You would have to earn about $14.85.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad because, that's twice the minimum wage.
Yep.
All right. An estimated 56% of Pittsburgh area renters cannot afford that basic 56%. So what's wrong here? Obviously the wages, right?
Yeah, because Pittsburgh rents, it's not like they're that costly,
No, as a matter of fact, Pittsburgh rents are Pennsylvania, I can compare. We're like right in the middle of the pack in terms of what you need. Hawaii is the most expensive state for renters.
Yeah, I would expect.
You need to have an hourly wage of $32 to afford a basic apartment. D.C. is the next most expensive. California the next. New York, New Jersey. And we come in at number 19, Pennsylvania. If you don't want to spend much on your rent, you move to the Dakotas. Just in case you wanted to know where to go.
Yeah.
That's where you go. All right.
Amazing.
All right. Oh, God. This is more of that officer stuff I was going to talk to you about. But, I can't. Now it just seems like they're picking up rocks now.
Yeah.
And so some of this stuff just sounds like, oh, that is nothing. It's just a little picayunish thing. Oh, a car wash for $9 out of the wrong fund. Big deal. It's just the
drip, drip, drip.
Drip, where you can see nobody is minding the store.
Yeah.
So,
and it's every day. I mean, I do on the website. I do a roundup of morning headlines every day, and it's just like every day now. I just have here's your installment of police bureau, nightmares for you to peruse at your leisure. It's every single day. There's at least 2 stories.
Margaret has answered you, Ray. She has written Ray blah blah blah.
Unbeliever. I bet she can't dance.
I could never have been a Catholic. God was great in not having me be a Catholic. You know why? I can't kneel. What happens if you can't kneel?
What does that mean?
I've got this. I forget it's got a long name. But if you want, you can.
I thought you meant you were too proud.
No, if you want, you can touch it so you can know why I can't. No,
you know
don't
what?
want to?
No.
So I have a weird.
We're going to finish the hour out without that happening. I can tell you.
Okay.
If this was like 22, maybe.
If your bones, your leg bone grows a lot in one fell swoop, which apparently mine did.
Right.
Like right around 12, 13, 14. There, I forget what it's called, but your knee can develop this. It's like a knob at the bottom. I mean, it's like this big knob. And you try kneeling on a knob as opposed to an ordinary kneecap.
Yes.
A patella. If you have a deformed patella, like I do, to kneel on it is akin to kneeling on your knuckles.
Even if it's a padded cushion, because a lot of those kneelers are
padded. The padded ones work a little bit better, but it's just unbelievable pain for me. I found that out in modern dance class. And I kept saying to the teacher, I can't. Or even in yoga where you end up in like one of those things. I can't.
Yeah. So you need the religion that's just like everybody's in a barca lounger.
Jews make you stand for a long time.
Nope.
Man, you do a lot of standing. And you do a little knee bend sometimes. Did you know that?
No.
Jews can do a knee bend. But it's not all the way down.
Like this sort
it is. Yeah, it is.
Like, okay.
It's like this and then over. It's like it's really, and it's like during a prayer that says, what would that prayer say in English? Essentially say, I bend my knee and and so when you're saying that, you actually, so that's our little dance.
Yeah.
Right.
We do the hustle.
Do you?
I just felt a need for something. I don't know.
But see, here's what happens. You feel very defensive of the church you grew up in, which it's what you know, and it's what I feel very. I don't attend services very often,
right?
But I will go to the mat.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, right. So you'll go to the mat for the Presbyterians.
I wouldn't.
I'll go to the mat for.
I wouldn't say that.
The Jews, and Ray's going to the mat for the Catholics because we all have. You wouldn't go to the mat.
Not particularly. No. Well,
I would.
No, I mean.
See, that's why you Protestants are so milk toasty.
Some of us.
Why it's so
but don't
dull,
forget
because you don't have.
Don't forget a lot of the Baptist evangelicals are also Protestant faiths. So be careful about generalizing, because some of those folks are, pretty intense about it.
Well, they borrowed that from the black people.
Jeez.
You want to get out of here?
I do. I don't know why. I just feel like disaster coming. I think it was the Pope thing, and then it was asking to feel your knee or whatever. I just feel like this.
All right,
we basically have 120 seconds, and if I could just make it without touching off an international incident.
I'm just looking to see if there's any other news around. No.
Nope, sorry. That's it.
I think you're in the clear. Yeah, I won't even. Gesundheit.
Well, we do have a minute or two if you did want to talk about your sexual fantasies, just in case. I don't know how much time that'll take. See, I told you we'd want to save this.
All right. That's it. Hey, anything in your paper of note?
Everything in my paper is of note. We've got one of our early election stories about the race in City Council District 6, which is Dan Lavelle and Tanya Payne in a rematch, if you can believe it. Also a story about controversy in the city's drag scene, the perfect alternative weekly.
You're kidding.
The perfect alternative weekly story.
And what's the controversy in the city's?
Oh, there's a promoter coming to town who wants to do who wants to put his drag pageant on PCTV, and he has sort of a long history, and some people admire him and some people don't. So we'll see how that all pans out. He's also asking for the contestants in his pageant to disclose if they have any criminal background, which is apparently causing some consternation in some circles.
So this will be, he wants to do the Miss Pittsburgh Public Access TV pageant.
Exactly.
Hey, man, that gives me renewed
confidence in public access television?
No. Renewed raison d'etre. This is something to live for. And when is the...
The contest will be held in the spring. They will not actually air the pageant, I think, until late summer, if I recall correctly.
Excuse me. It is... I'm reading from the first paragraph here. And this is the guy who's acting like he's uptight. This is the editor of this paper, okay? And because we said bearded Pope, he's losing his mind. And listen to this sentence, okay?
Here we go. I knew something bad was going to happen in the last 2 minutes of this show.
Bars like the Blue Moon Cativo, Brillo Box,
yes,
and their Ultra Lounge all feature drag shows, many on a regular basis. In recent years, that scene has been sustained by performers like Marsha Monster Mello, and institutions like Outrageous Bingo, and it's been popularized nationally by local performers like Sharon Needles and Alaska Thunderfuck.
Who's now changed her name for TV purposes, I should add.
Who broke into the mainstream thanks to RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah.
But wasn't Alaska voted off? Thunderfuck?
I'm saying they broke. I mean, it's saying they broke in. They became national. I mean, they broke into national consciousness.
Okay. Well, I just, Alaska Thunderfuck.
Look, I didn't make up
That's okay. Okay, wait. We have Margaret.
As a recovering Greek Catholic. Okay.
A Greek Catholic. All right.
All right. Okay, thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Any show you can walk away from, as far as
Okay. Hey, thank you, guys.
Sokolowski tomorrow?
No, he's off on some toot. He wasn't here last week, and he's not here this week, but he will be back next week. Okay.
Alrighty.
Thank you, Chris, as usual.
May God bless.
Toodaloo.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.